A warm welcome back to the Forensic, probably Unplugged channel, guys. It's quite an informal video today. We're going to be recolouring an old Porsche steering wheel where you can see the paint doesn't show up too well on camera. We need to get some light on it. You see there the paint's coming off it. So we'll recolour the whole leather, bonded leather or whatever. I think it's real leather actually. And we'll recolour the airbag module just so it matches. We won't recolour the back kind of rubber part of that steering wheel, we'll just clean that up. So the process is quite simple really. We're going to be using all this guy stuff. I've done, I don't know how many steering wheels I've done with this, probably at least 4 or 5, and I've still got more than half a bottle. So you can do a lot of steering wheels. So this, I think this is just the black kit. Which is fine for all these black steering wheels. We're going to clean it first with the strong leather cleaner, which you could even knock down with a bit of water if you want, like 50-50 maybe, but we'll just use it neat. We'll clean it to get all of the shine and the surface grease off of it. We then use a degreaser and just wipe over it, just because that's better. It's a stronger solvent-based degreaser than a surfactant. Then we will sand it with these little sanding pads that they do. Let's just see if I can find a cleaner one. Yeah, that'll do. To smooth it, just to give us a smooth finish and a little key. We're not gonna. Well, you don't really want to sand on the on those bits of you know, rope or whatever, string, cord. But you just sand around it to key it in and make sure it feels all smooth. So at the moment you can feel a little bit of that texture, although the gloves are on. And then after sanding, another little degrease wipe down, and then we're ready to apply the paint. And you can put this in a gun and spray it, but it would be a little bit messy. So we're just going to dab it on with foam swabs and then dry it in and build up a couple of layers and perhaps a little bit more, an extra layer on the real high contact area of the steering wheel, which tends to be for right-handed people, yeah, there and there mainly, but yeah. So shall we get started then, guys, and I'll chat to you as we're going. So this will kind of be like a live video. Oh, you got a bit of flicker there, that's annoying. Oh, where's that flicker coming from? See if I can just get rid of that flicker. It's some sort of camera frequency thing. If I just alter the light. Yeah, that's better, look at that. So yeah, we'll start with this. I've gloved up and I've taken my jacket off because this is a little bit of a messy job, and you've just got to be reasonably methodical when you clean this, because you've got to clean all of it, and you've got to paint all of it as well, really. So just obviously with the steering wheel, just going to work your way around. And these areas where the cord is, you know, the thread is gets particularly dirty over time. So like, it's a really good opportunity just to bring this steering wheel back. But it's a well-made steering wheel because it's savable. It's just really the painted finish which is kind of deteriorated. Yeah, you can save a bit of time by just dolloping some of this around the wheel so you can pick it up as you go along. You might want to be a little bit mindful of that badge, scrubbing on that badge. It does look like it's lacquered, but still I'll try and scrub around that. You could mask that off, which would be very sensible. And just make sure you scrub it all. Yeah, it's a nice, when you do this, I tell you what, it really freshens up the steering wheel, and it feels like, especially when you get in a car, the thing that you touch all of the time is the steering wheel, and there's nothing worse than a worn out, knackered steering wheel. So as long as your leather's intact, there's no reason why you shouldn't go ahead and do this. And you don't need really, other than the paint, you don't really need any special equipment. You could probably use a bit of automotive grit, you know, if you haven't got these pads, but these pads are just ideal, these padded versions for doing this. So that's most of that piece done. We want to get it all in there. You can see a bit of browning as you go over this. And I think it is easier. It is a much better job if you get the steering wheel off. I've done it in situ, but just because it's a pain sometimes to remove these steering wheels. But when you're cleaning it and you've got access to it like this, you just do a better job with the cleaning and putting the paint down as well. But yeah, you might want to, it'd be ideal if you could have it on something that could hold it, just so you could spin it round as well. So it's quite a rich formula, this leather cleaner. It's very good, this strong leather cleaner, actually. I think I probably prefer it to the organic one, because if it's strong, you can always knock it down, can't you? Which is what I sometimes do. But especially when you're prepping like this. The difference between the strong and the mild one from a pragmatic point of view is the mild one, you can leave it on there, or if you miss any of it and leave the liquid on the leather, it's not going to do anything. Whereas this one, I think it's referred to as a professional one. You get it on, and then you kind of want to get it off afterwards. So we just mop up this surfactant with a microfiber cloth, and then we're going to be ready to degrease and sand. I mean, just giving it a clean, Jesus, that's made a hell of a difference. You know what? Oh no, okay, yeah, it does. In this dark light, when you wetten that leather, it almost looks like it doesn't need recolouring, but it does. Yeah, it does. The paint has gone thin on it. It's not just like dirt that's come off, although some dirt's come off. You can see it all. It's so much. Whenever you clean this, you should always glove up, really, but more because you're going to get all this old dead skin all over you, like sticky dead skin. Right, that's nice and cleaned. You see that? Probably looks ace on camera now. It looks pretty ace in the flesh. It's a good steering wheel to start with, this one. Any little bits in there like that, whatever that is, I want to get that off. Even if I pick it off with what would I use? Usually a little scalpel or something just to get that off, but just for the purposes of time, I'm just going to go at that little dot, because that could be a little dot of polish or something. I'm just going to scrape that off. There we go. Yeah. Because that could come off later on. So next, we will just do a degreaser wipe down. So we'll get that in place there. Get the degreaser on. I've got this Ram's old one. It just has slightly less of a smell. So I'm just going to use that. This will be absolutely fine. It's going to get degreased again, so not too worried about how thorough that is, but let's get those bits of let's get those bits we're still pulling dirt off when we do that. Want to get those cords. You really smell like you're cleaning it when you use these products as well, these things. Yeah, I love all this stuff, love it. So that's the degrease wipe down. Now we'll take this, our sanding pad, and we're just gonna lightly, see we are removing paint as soon as we do that, but we're just gonna key it, remove all the loose dead paint. It's not gonna be great to paint on, and just smooth the finish out. So if it feels smooth, then our finish is gonna be good. If it feels a bit knobbly and it's dead paint, then it's probably not going to last as long. You can use filler if you've got any like score marks in here, which you can sometimes do when you get in and out the cars. You put deep gouges in it, But filler, you're going to be wearing on this, so if you can wear away the original finish, you're going to be able to wear away filler. So the less filler I think you use on a steering wheel or gear knob is generally better. This part here is, I just want a very light key on that. Yeah, we'll get all the sanding dust off of this. Make sure we get all the way around the back. This paint on the bottom is better, so less sanding is really required. Just a light sand down, a little bit more on this top piece here. And these contact areas, a bit more of a sand. This is where having the gloves on, you just lose that little bit of feel. But yeah, I can see we're right down to the skin on that, you know, before. Okay, that should be good. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. Right, so let's tuck that away, and we will just get most of this off. We've still got some degreaser on that cloth, you can see it. Clean, get all that cord clean. Let's just get a bit more of that on so you can see all of that stuff. That's why we have to do this degrease thing. Gets all the loose stuff you've just taken off of the car. So here we go, let's get that on there, especially on this top section. Yeah, as long as I'm getting stuff coming off into the cloth, there's benefit of this. I think this is going to come up pretty good. I'm just asking myself the question, should I mask off that? But I don't think I need to. I can dab up to that pretty easily. If you do get any of the wet paint on there, then a little bit of the cleaning spirit and then just wipe it off the badge, you'll be fine. Yeah, but you probably should. You probably should. Right, so we're ready now to colour. Yeah. So there we go. So if I come back a little bit, so you've got a wider, better shot of the whole thing. Yeah, there you go. We're ready to colour. So we've got our hairdryer ready. I just find this helps dry it out when you're doing multiple coats. So we want that to hand. Shake the hell out of the paint. You could mask everything off that you're not painting, including that lower section, but if you're careful, you should be fine. Just always think to shake this a lot. Right, that'll do. And here we go. So I think Ram always says less is more, and build up thinner layers rather than trying to go mad. So we'll start on the left hand side at 9 o'clock if you like. Just dab that out a little bit. And we'll do the reverse. We want to get right the way up to the edge so you don't see any get any like patchiness of fresh paint versus you know, the original colour that will look slightly different, so you avoid that patchy kind of finish. Okay, and your hands will, yeah, if you, especially if you touch the wrong bits, your hands will get progressively painty as you're doing this. Yeah. That's why you want to mask off. I don't want any paint on that bit. I'll just give it a final wipe down check once that's done. Right. Yeah, it's a nice easy paint to work with this. It just has a nice sheen on it, but it isn't like a really glossy finish. And once you've put the fresh paint on as well, the leather steering wheel, when you touch it, feels like really nice, and that can be important. I think this is a spare wheel that Dan's got, so I might as well just get it nice rather than have a knackered one, because if you've got a knackered one like this and you put it into a car, you're detracting from the car rather than adding to it. So if this goes in a car, you want it to add to it. It's like, wow, that steering wheel is really good. So yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, and all this stuff is not difficult to do. It really isn't. And you can all do a better job than I'm doing here. But this will be a good job, I'll show you. Well, once it's finished, we'll show you it, warts and all over. It's this top bit that we're really kind of worried about. It's important to get behind the steering wheel, because you will eventually kind of see that at certain angles when you're doing stuff, and you don't want that to look rubbish. So that needs to look fresh as well. Jet black. Yeah, so we're getting there. Let's get that back piece done. Nice bit is when you get the hairdryer on it and you dry it. So hopefully you can see all that. So what's going on with the channel, guys? Well, we're finishing off heat 3 of our quick detailers, which has been really good fun. Yeah, the sort of getting to see some new products, it's good, and testing them against some old favourites, which is good. And you know, putting them through a process like we say in those videos, and then the ones that come out with the most marks are the ones that come out with the most marks. But some really interesting feedback about the sort of approach to testing, and kind of, yeah, when you all in this test, all of the kind of categories are kind of all worth the same marks. And someone's saying, well, you should weight them differently, so that, you know, a detailer should really be about the application and stuff. But then for other people, it might not be. They might want a detailer that really beads, because they seem to be the popular ones. So when you start messing around with the points criteria, which I do, you know, I do think about that and do that weightings. But when you start doing that, you start introducing another variables on what I sort of think are important. And I think if you just have it all the same, then you could just present all those scores and what it's based on, and then people can say, well, that one I'm not interested in. So if they've got the spreadsheet or the data, then they can just sort of pick whatever they like, really. And yeah, that kind of works. And also, we kind of, our approach to getting around all of that thing is by trying to do additional content with the products, where we just talk about them in a slightly less kind of test orientated perspective, where we're testing this and we're testing that, and this one's better at that, and just like what I think of the products, and I think that adds a bit of value. So we always tend to do that. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing with these. But the ones that are going to be going through are probably the ones that are just picking up the most marks in all the categories. So they're going to have to be performance orientated. They're going to have a good user experience. They're going to have to be slick. They're going to have to do well in the gloss testing. And they're going to have to sort of stand up on the panel a bit longer. Yeah, which is probably how it should be. But you could argue, yeah, quick detailer shouldn't have any durability. It shouldn't do this. The problem is, if you make that claim, from what I'm seeing, is you could pick any quick detailer really that's less protective and it will do that job. And you could make a case for any of them being, oh, well, this is nice to use. Yeah, well, they're mainly water, a little bit of material, shine it up, a little bit of lubrication or whatever. But I think quick detailers have evolved a little bit now. And they're a bit more, they bridge the gap a little bit more into kind of protective products, which is something we talked about. They definitely do that. So yeah, let's just get this edge. Avoid touching it too much. Definitely need gloves when you're doing this. So the more paint you get on, the more fiddly it gets. Get right the way up to that badge, or else in certain lights you'll see like the dryness of the original finish versus the freshness of the new finish, and you don't want that. You just want it to all blend in. Yeah. So that essentially is the first coat. Now what we'll do is we'll take this, put that lid on, and dry the paint out, and we'll just bring you in and we'll just run this with a bit of hot air just to like take that wetness out. You see it fade in. Feel that wetness just dry out, it'll level it down, shrinks it a bit. Takes the moisture out of it, the water. It goes. Some excess paint, so we just need to dry that excess paint off there. I think I've missed some of the backside, haven't I? Possibly. Have to check that. But to give you an idea, like the finish is just going to get better and better. I need to, well, try and keep my hands off it, but it's probably dry to the touch. You look how good. What's that there? A little patch. Oh yeah, it just needs more paint there. So as we build up the layers, that's still some of the thin paint from before, but you get an idea of, you can really get this back to looking nice doing this. It's really good. Yeah, that's going to look amazing. It's going to feel amazing in any Porsche. In fact, I wouldn't mind that as a spare for mine. Yeah, so just a little bit more paint. I can see it's a little bit thin around that badge area. So we'll build up coats, and after the second coat, we'll come back. So I'll tell you what, I'll bring you back in and show you what it's like when I think it's finished, because I would imagine we're a little bit dry and we need to put a bit more paint under there and in there, get that underside done a little bit better. So we'll come back in a second, guys. Okay guys, so we've done 3 coats of this, and now I'm I'm happy with the finish. I just needed a bit more paint there. You could still see that lack of colour a little bit. It was a bit patchy there, so it needed more paint. Yeah, and we now have a steering wheel which smells good, looks fresh. You can't really see the difference between the painted. It's a bit fresher, still got a bit of satin shine there, but that will settle down once it's dried a bit more. You know, you can't really see the difference between the back vinyl section that hasn't been painted and the new bit. We haven't got any on the badge, and that's going to look fantastic in any Porsche now. In fact, yeah, I might want it for mine. As a spare note, this is going back. I'm going to take this round to Danny's now and he'll be over the moon with that. Very easy job to do, guys. So clean, degrease, sand as required to get it smooth. You know, especially if you've lost a lot of paint, just level that all down, give it that light key, get all that dead paint off, degrease again, and when it's dry, build up 3 layers of paint, dry after each one, and just check in the light that you haven't missed any bits, particularly around the edges and the underneath. And then, yeah, you're good to go. Very easy job. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know if you've tackled this. It's more for the guys with kind of 20-year plus cars. Although saying that, that's not true, is it? I saw Reg the other day in his M140, all the paint had gone off the steering wheel, which is bizarre, but it can happen. Sometimes they can get refinished and recoloured at factory, and then that recolouring work isn't as good as the original kind of work. I'm just guessing there, but I've seen with some steering wheels like that are brand new, you wipe on them and you can get some, when you clean them, you can get some transfer. And other ones, you can wipe the hell out of them aggressively and not get any transfer, and that's off the same car. So I think sometimes refinishing can play a part in when that happens. This one, you know, it's this should be good for another 10 years, and I don't know, it depends on the mileage of the car. I would think, because it's a one-part system, I would just clean it regularly, use mild detergents, and, you know, don't go gripping on it as hard as you can and wrenching on it, you know, because you'll abrade the paint system more. So just clean it delicately, and this should stay good for many years to come. And when it needs doing again, it's a relatively easy job. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Doug.